Hello and welcome to another episode of Rebel Rogue, where today we will be converting a Chapter Master from a Stormcast Eternal Knight Venator. Rebel Rogue. So, here we are. This is the box for the Knight Azeroth and Knight Venator. Of course, today we'll be using mostly the Knight Venator, because I prefer that model. I may at some point get another one of these just to build the Knight Venator, because it is a very nice model. Anyway, opening the box, just like any other Games Workshop box opening experience, as we can see today, we are struggling to get into the box, as always. Anyway, once you get in, you've got your standard arrangement of Games Workshop sprues, base, a 50mm base, in this case a single sprue. So, as always, with any assembly and conversion, I just begin clipping the bits out of the sprue and cleaning them up, taking off any tabs from cutting them off, any mould lines, and anything else I want to clean off, such as any overt Stormcast Eternal iconography. This is more on the shoulder, the right-hand shoulder pad. It does have a Hammer of Sigma, which I do remove. So I then glue the models to get the model together. The first two bits following the instruction manual at all times, until at some point when it all goes off the rails. Assembling the wings, assembled the body, they're the bits I'm definitely keeping. Now we read the bits box. For any bits that may be useful, these include intercessor pouches, an intercessor head which I later found doesn't fit, a cloak from Anvil Industries, and a sword from the same company. I also find a holster for a pistol, just to give it that extra sci-fi vibe. I do choose the one with the handle because this model does not come with a pistol in its hand. The intercessor head doesn't fit, so I do end up using the Stormcast one. I was planning on putting the crest onto an intercessor head had it fitted, but the head doesn't fit, so that's why I clipped the crest. But I didn't then just fit it to the normal head, which I think can look quite good when painted. The intercessor head is a little bit large, so that is the main issue. As with any conversion project, we do want to begin by dry fitting the parts before gluing them together. This can involve clamps, it can involve blue tack, or white tack, or your preferred adhesive putty. But in my case it's just holding them together and hoping it works. I do clean up any of the bits, including the sword, that I do use. I am determined that the model will have a sword in its right hand, but the left hand is more up for debate. I do try a few things just to see what works, and then I remember I have green stuff, which I do end up using green stuff, which is quite helpful. You can see now I add in the, whatever you call it, the arrows, just to add a bit of pizzazz to a Chapter Master. Yes, I do end up going with carrying the bolt rifle, and I do tilt the head slightly, just to ensure that I have the right position. I do use the green stuff just to make sure that the arm fits properly and that shoulder pads fit properly where I have changed things. I do seriously consider using the flipped up screen, but in the end it just doesn't seem to work. I also trim down the cloak / cape, as I don't think it is quite appropriate. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't fit, so I trim it down until it fits. Here we can see the model as it is finished, pretty much before it's put on its base and other bits are glued on, which have been left off for ease of painting. I did go with the bolter, which I thought lended it a very 40k aesthetic. So for the base, as it's a larger 50mm base, I felt like I had to do something interesting with it, especially as I'd done interesting things with the first captain of my Space Marine chapter, who is a Terminator. I'd put him on a pedestal, so a sort of raised pedestal. So using XPS blue foam, often used for insulation, and a less than desirably sharp knife, I slowly trim the foam so that it fits the base and fits the model. That is the most important thing, that it actually fits on the model, or that the model fits on it. I glue it to the base using PVA glue, and then I apply filler to create some texture. This is better than a Citadel texture paint, as it's A, a lot cheaper, and B, you can colour it however you want. You can paint it, you can spray over it, and you can add whatever texture you want to it. So it's a very good sort of paste that you can put on there. It's not good if you want general colour and texture all in the same when you're basing an army or something. But it's good before you end up, if you're doing separate bases or whatever. Anyway, I do end up putting in a couple of other bits into the filler. I've done this on several models, a couple in my army, and it's just to add some interest to the base. I do use the lantern from the Knight of Zeros because I want to do a bit of object source lighting with it, and I do end up doing this with the sword as well. But I add a shoulder pad, defeated enemies and all that, just to add more character to the base. I don't want the base to detract from the model, which I don't think will be too difficult because the model is very eye-catching. Not quite as eye-catching as a Knight Celestant, but yeah. Anyway, I also add an Intercessor Sergeant's head on a skewer, which I was going to use on a Chaos Temple, but ended up not using on a Chaos Temple. I need to finish that parts of that Chaos Temple. Then I apply PVA glue to the base, having let it set, let the filler dry, and I then apply a little bit of sand and grit to add some texture to the base. Do make sure that you have applied an adequate layer of PVA glue. I probably applied too much, considering how little texture I put on, but it works. I apply finer grits and coarser grits. The final result is a following underpainting using inks and spray and paint through an airbrush. The final result I'm quite happy with, and the next video that you see from this channel will be painting it. So please do subscribe if you'd like to see that, and yes, there will be videos on screen now that you will be able to click on and watch, which you should, because they're good, probably.